Welcome back to All Hallows Kino, where all through the month we're doing October videos, and today is a very special episode because I have with me a very special guest, the YouTuber formerly known as BHL Hudson.
The retired legend himself,
Yeah,
returning to the
he's
screen.
back for a cameo.
I'm back, yeah.
In the adjoining show.
Had to make an appearance in the Kino cave, you know.
Of course.
Naturally.
Yeah, had to join Mr. Kino on
Yes, of course.
on his journey through October. Today, we are going to be covering Scariest Movie Moments. So, I'm a horror fan. Benedict's not necessarily a horror fan. But we've all seen some scary movie moments, as I'm sure you all have as well. So, we're going to go over some of our favorites, some of our scariest, what gets us really, really scared.
There you go. Especially lately, also. I've been watching, I was saying yesterday, I've seen more horror movies in the past, month than I have for the rest of my life, so I feel a little more prepared to...
That's mostly my fault,
this.
I feel.
Yeah. You have forced it upon me a little bit.
Yeah. Spoilers for all the movies that we're covering in
Yeah.
this video. My first scary movie moment is from the 1975, I think, film Carrie. And I watched this film a couple of months ago, and it scared the absolute shit out of me. It was absolutely horrifying, but in the best way possible. It's an excellent film. And the two kind of moments within that film that stand out to me the most is the bloodbath when Carrie is getting drowned in blood, and the look that Sissy Spacek has on her face as she is going around the room and killing everyone haunts my dreams. It is so scary. And the second moment that really gets me in that film is when Carrie is walking home from that whole thing to take a bath, and it's never called attention to, ever in the film. But as she's walking into the bathroom, her mother is standing behind the door holding a knife. And she's just standing there. There's never, a cut to her face or anything like that. She is just there in the scene, and I was going to say there's no payoff to it, but that sounds bad. There's no payoff to the scene, but it's so suspenseful because you're waiting for something to happen and then it just doesn't, and then something happens in the scene after. It absolutely scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, fair. I have not seen it yet.
Yeah.
But, that sounds fucking scary, yeah.
Most of these movies you haven't seen, actually,
Yeah.
that I'm going for. But
it's funny, I mean, having not seen it, I didn't, from what I knew about it, I didn't think of Carrie as, a super, frightening movie. I guess I thought it was more
it's
of,
so scary. It's so scary.
Fair, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can handle that, to be honest.
You need some training. You need more training. You need more Kino Cave training before you get used to
That's
Carrie.
the final level of Kino Cave.
Yeah, that's level 10.
I guess appropriately for my first one, I'll go with a non-horror movie. I don't think you would qualify it as a horror movie, but Parasite.
Okay.
I think my number one scariest moment comes in the film Parasite. Have you actually seen Parasite?
I have not.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to spoil it then. Well, I can allude to it, and anyone who's seen it, I think, will know which moment, but there is a moment where a child is looking at a dark space, like a dark kind of doorway, and a face appears in the doorway, and without spoiling the context of it in the story, it's made a lot scarier by the context of the story.
Okay.
That is the single, I've never been more terrified. I can't explain. It felt like, you know when you have a scary dream, and
Yeah.
it's it feels surreally scary. I've never felt that feeling outside of a dream before, which I guess means I've had a very fortunate life where I haven't had many scary scenarios. But yeah, I was in the cinema and it was just like an actual chill kind of went through my body. So I don't know. That's always stuck with me. Is these single moment. Of course, there's things that made me jump and stuff, but the moment that really, I don't know, got to my soul in a weird way. That Parasite scene is oh my god.
It reminds me. It's not on my list, but a kind of a similar moment in Halloween when Laurie is kind of running around the house. She thinks that she's kind of not safe, but she thinks she's kind of gotten away a little bit from Michael. And there's an open door, and it's just darkness behind the open door, and then Michael just kind of just
Yes.
comes slowly into
Oh
frame,
yeah.
and yeah, that got me as well the first time I watched that movie. So
Yeah. There's something about like because it's not in Parasite. It's not like a jump scare, but like it's just like this like extremely ominous and there's kind of like a white noise like building in the background. It's just like yeah,
yeah,
yeah, horrifying.
that kind of stuff really creeps me out. Right,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So my next one is sort of an unusual one. It's Frankenstein from 1931, and yeah, the film is dated, of course, because it's a black and white movie from the 30s. But I think there's one part of Frankenstein that will remain scary to me, at least, for a while yet, and that is when you first meet Boris Karloff as the monster, and he walks out slowly and he turns around and you just see the dead face, and you see his kind of eyes and they're all kind of drooped down, which was done with makeup, and the makeup work is just absolutely excellent. But I think largely as well, Boris Karloff's performance in Frankenstein is so scary. He looks like a dead man walking, and there's just something about it. It's not like a jump scare or something that kind of like freaks me out or anything, but it's just creepy. He just looks really creepy, I think. So, I mean, yeah, you probably wouldn't think so, but like I find him to look really weird.
Yeah. I also think it's almost more impressive when like much older films can have because there's so many different like techniques and like edits and whatnot and like jump scare, loud sound, whatever that you can do
Mm-hmm.
now. That's like and visual effects that you can make things like extra terrifying. So for something with more like limited resources, when
Yeah, because with Boris Karloff, like a lot of it is the makeup, but a lot of it is just him as well.
yeah, like you have to like get the performance and like
Mm.
the visual effects like practically. So yeah, that's also really impressive in that way. This one's a childhood fear of mine, but still kind of sticks with me to this day. The film Coraline,
Oh wow,
which
yeah.
is
I should have put that on my list. Fuck.
that is I mean, I can't believe I was made to watch that as a child, but I'm happy I was because it's like an excellent film. But I mean, just like the general atmosphere. I think also as a kid who loved like Pixar, DreamWorks, all that kind of stuff, the different animation style already, just like from the jump, freaked
Mm.
me out. And like trying to think of a specific moment, I would have to go with the end of the film where weirdly. I mean, the whole, of course, the other mother, the buttons in the eyes, the rat man, the guy made of
Oh
rats.
Jesus,
That
yeah.
was that was rough. But weirdly, the end of the film when there's a chase scene between the two dimensions, and she goes through the tunnel, and the other mother's like crawling and screaming and running after her, and she like slams the door, and the other mother's like banging on the other side of the door. I remember that just like
Mm.
freaked the hell out of me when I was a kid because it just yeah, it's like it's bridging that gap between like the real world and that weird creepy world, and the fact that then also the hand gets through, and then the hand is
Yeah.
like ominously coming around like trying to open the door. That always freaked me out. Like the idea of you think you've gotten away, like you were saying before, and then there's still something there, and there's something creeping around, and like if it does unlock it, then the horror that's gonna come out of there. Oh my god, that movie's fucking freaky,
Yeah,
man.
that whole movie like just creeps me out. Like I should have put it on my list because when I was a kid and I saw the kind of chase scene that you're talking about, and especially when it like opens up into a big spider web and
Yes,
she's
man.
crawling around in it. I remember the night I watched that for the first time, I had to go stay at my cousin's house in a room by myself in the dark. And I was young, so like I still like slept with a nightlight and stuff. Like, so I was absolutely shitting myself because I was in a dark room that I'm not familiar with in a house that I'm not familiar with. And I'd just seen Coraline, and I'm a young kid, so
Yeah,
God,
man.
I was not good. I was not okay.
Yeah, very understandable.
Yeah.
Also, not that it's like the scariest part, but just like maybe the darkest part. The ghosts of the kids.
Oh
She
my
meets
God,
like
yeah.
what
There's
the
some
fuck?
sometimes I watch movies that I watched as a kid, and I'm just looking at them like this is for children.
Yeah, how'd you
Like
do this, man? Yeah, but it's a great film though.
it
So
is. It's an excellent film.
yeah, good on you guys.
Another oldie for you guys, The Haunting, which is based on the book The Haunting of Hill House, which I've talked about on the channel before. I absolutely love The Haunting. I think it's an excellent film. It's probably the best adaptation of the book, especially if you're looking for a straight adaptation. Don't watch the 90s one, it's crap. Um, but the opening of The Haunting, when there's an opening monologue and you've got clips going of the events that the voiceover is describing, and there's this one specific shot when he's talking about a woman in Hill House who has fallen down the stairs, and there's this one shot where it's at the bottom of the stairs, the camera is like on the floor, and the woman is like laying down on the stairs with her face towards the camera, and like her face is upside down because her head is back, and just like her eyes are wide and her mouth is wide open, and she's just lying there dead, and like there's a big kind of it's not like a kind of shitty horror movie type thing, but when it cuts to that, it just kind of goes like doo, and you're just looking at him like, Jesus Christ, like this is scary.
Yeah.
That, yeah, I'll show you this shot afterwards, but God, it's really bad. Like for me anyway, I don't know. Like I showed it to my girlfriend, and she was like, yeah, it's not that scary," and I'm like, "Not that scary. Look at her. She looks so dead. She's so very dead.
Extremely dead.
It's so dead. Like it's dead to the point of being really scary kind of dead." And yeah, so I find it quite terrifying.
That sounds scary from the way
It
you
is,
describe
yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then the whole movie is not necessarily as scary, but there's a lot of scary stuff in the rest of the film as well.
To be fair, that does sound a bit like your girlfriend, where she'd just be like, "That's not scary."
Yeah, because like we have different like fears. Like she's just so unfazed by that kind of stuff and like the supernatural kind of stuff, but then like she hates having to watch something like, you know, like a Halloween movie or something, because she just hates like the gore of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I love gore. It's the best thing ever.
Man, slightly demented take.
I mean, yeah, that's like that's my horror thing. Like, I just like, I don't like jump scares. To be fair, I don't like jump scares because they're scary. I hate them because they're cheap. And it's usually the supernatural stuff, like The Haunting, or some of the Conjuring movies. That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff scares me. Like The Exorcist as well. That kind of stuff like actually scares me. But then when it comes to slashers, I just have so much fun with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like jump scares either, because I'm sort of a bit of a scaredy cat. But I'm not big on like gore. So there's a very specific like niche part of horror that I like. That's like
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, right in there.
I was trying to think of a moment from Silence of the Lambs because I loved it so much. But like, I don't think there's a specific moment that was like extra scary. I just think the whole movie is fucking fantastic.
It is, yeah. I'd be hesitant to say The Silence of the Lambs is a horror movie, really.
Yeah, it's sort of, maybe that's why I liked it so much, because it's very much on the edge.
It's not a psychological thriller.
I mean, on that note, since you mentioned it, there are two very small moments, so maybe I'll group them together, but from two of the horror films that I've been educated with over the past month, Nightmare on Elm Street and The Exorcist, which are two movies that are definitely, I mean, they're definitely scary, but they were manageable, you know what I mean? Like, I could handle it. Especially Nightmare on Elm Street, because it's more sort of fun, goofy.
Yeah.
And The Exorcist, for me, that was more kind of like atmospherically creepy and interesting without, like, specific moments. But there were two moments. In Nightmare on Elm Street, the body bag moment.
Yeah.
That was the only one that actually, because all the other scares are, like, you know, kind of fun scary. It's like, oh, he cut off his fingers, and he's like, you know, or they lift up his skin, and there's bugs and shit. But that one where it just cuts to like this super fucking creepy silent moment where she sees her friend in the body bag and there's blood, and then he's like dragging her away by the feet. That was scary. I'll give you that for sure.
Most people do agree that that's kind of the scariest aspect of the film. That body bag scene.
It's like way darker too than all the other scares. Like the other scares sort of, again, like fun horror movie thing, and then that one's like pretty fucking intense. And then in The Exorcist, which again I didn't find super scary, although I did really like it. But the one moment that got me, and ironically you told me afterwards that it wasn't even in the original cut, but the crab walk down the stairs sequence, or just like moment, specifically because of the way it was edited, where it's just very simple, but where you hear her coming down the stairs, and it stays on. I think it's the mom's face, and it sort of like zooms in. You see like the shock and horror on her face first, and it lets you sit with that for like a second. So then the anticipation is kind of built to like, what the fuck is she seeing? And then you see this weird ass, crab walk down the stairs, and pretty sure she projectile vomits or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that moment, like it filled you, like in a very short period, it filled you with that dread, and then paid it off really well. Like, I think that's a pretty.
That is very
pretty perfect
scary.
scare,
That's
yeah.
why I do enjoy watching the director's cut of The Exorcist, because pretty much just for that scare, because they couldn't do it in 1973 convincingly, but then later on for the director's cut they were like, okay, we have the technology to do this like properly now, so they just took the footage and edited it to make it look good. And yeah, it's only in the director's cut the shot of her crab walking down the stairs. Also, fun fact, that is not Linda Blair crab walking. They got a contortionist to do that. So there you go. But really convincing, and yeah, I'd say that's one of the scarier parts of the film as well. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in that film that's quite unsettling and quite scary.
Mm.
But that is definitely one of the. That's definitely one of the more intense ones, I think. That and like the random cuts to Pazuzu, the
Yes,
demon,
man. Yeah.
the face of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the thing where, like, this is my kind of thing. This is how I cope with like actually scary stuff. I will like pause the film on the thing that scared me, and I'll draw it out.
Really?
Because I feel like if I know every detail of it, it can't scare me anymore.
That's fair, because I think part of, especially when it flashes like the demon, I mean,
Yeah.
part of the scary thing is you just like get a like split
Yeah,
second.
because like you get a split second of it, and you're really only seeing a little bit of it, so then your mind has to fill in the blanks of what you
Exactly,
just
yeah.
saw.
Yeah.
It's so scary, but so effective.
They kind of also, from memory, they do that in The Shining as well a couple of times, where like it flashes sort of like
Yeah,
a quick
yeah.
shot, and yeah.
A
Really
quick shot to
freaky.
like Danny's face or something.
Yeah.
You've not seen The Shining, have you?
I have seen The Shining.
You have seen The Shining.
I have, yeah. I love
Holy
The Shining.
shit!
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
Wow.
look, I'm welcome in the Kino.
Oh my
Cave,
God,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen The Shining.
When did you see The Shining?
Like I don't know, like 7 months ago or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I loved it. Yeah. I tried to do a
Alright.
bit of like a Kubrick thing for for a while there. So I did like Shining, Full Metal Jacket.
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great
And
movie.
yeah, how many stars?
Ooh. I do think it was a strong 4.
Oh, good.
Strong
yeah.
4. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I liked it a lot.
Yeah, no, I in fairness, the first time I watched it, I did not get The Shining at all. Like, I was like, what? Like,
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh, it's just like scary scene after scary scene after scary scene, and then it took until like my third rewatch of it where I'm like, okay, I get it. This is like kind of a masterpiece in a way.
Yeah.
So my next pick, second to last, is Evil Dead Rise, which is a film that came out this year and is becoming one of my favorite horror films. I don't know why, I just really attached to Evil Dead Rise for some reason. It's fun, it's quite comforting, which is weird to talk about this like horrible like situation that these characters are in, but I find it quite like comforting from a story perspective. And the practical effects in it are absolutely excellent. But one thing, and it scared me in the trailer, it scared me in the film, and it scares me every time I watch the film. But Alyssa Sutherland, huge props to her, because her face throughout that film is insane. Like, she would make an excellent Joker. She is so freaking scary when, like, there's no added effects. The only added effects to her eyes to make them kind of like glowy and stuff, which is fair because apparently having contacts in your eyes and stuff is really bad for you anyway. Like colored contacts, not regular contacts,
Right.
not the ones that you need to see. But having those colored contacts in your eyes, they can be kind of damaging to your eyes. So, but everything else is all makeup and it's all Alyssa Sutherland. She is insanely good in that movie and so scary, especially there's this one shot, and it is the money shot of the film. It's the one that's in all the trailers. It's from the point of view of a peephole, so you got a bit of a fisheye thing going.
I was gonna ask if that's the character you're talking about.
Yeah,
'cause I've seen
that's
that,
it. Yeah, and she's just staring into the peephole and she's talking, and it's just like, oh, because you know, like you're just waiting for her to snap
Yeah.
because she's just staring forward and smiling, and you are just waiting for it. Like, okay, she's gonna snap at any moment, and yeah, they really keep you on edge for a while.
Yeah. I was actually, there was a brief moment when I was thinking of going to see that, and genuinely that shot in the trailer kind of convinced me not to, because I was like, maybe I'm not ready for this. You know, this looks
it's quite gory.
Yeah, it's not really my speed.
Lee Cronin definitely intends to make people very uncomfortable with that movie, because if you're ever thinking about watching Evil Dead Rise, here's a couple of things that happens in it. You get a cheese grater to the leg. A girl swallows broken glass in horrifying detail. And yeah, there's other stuff. Someone takes a chainsaw to the head and scissors up the nose.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's a few. So if you're ever thinking of watching Evil Dead Rise, make sure you can tolerate that first.
And I will ask, just is it possible that Lee Cronin could have made a better film than Sam Raimi?
I'm not going to say that Lee Cronin is a better filmmaker than Sam Raimi, but I'm only going to say that because Lee Cronin has made one film, Evil Dead Rise.
There you go.
Sam Raimi has made many extremely influential and excellent films, including some of my absolute favorites, Evil Dead 2 and Spider-Man trilogy. So I'm not going to say he's a better filmmaker because it's not fair to compare someone who's had 40 years of experience making films to someone who's just made his first feature.
Right.
But Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert and Bruce Campbell all produced Evil Dead Rise, which I think helped Lee Cronin a lot. And I read interviews from them, and it was really a collaborative process for them. Like, Lee Cronin did take the reins, but it's nice that he had kind of Sam Raimi in his corner to kind of tell him, this is what an Evil Dead movie looks like.
Yeah. To be clear, that question was not my point of view. I haven't seen any Evil Dead films. It was a reference to a conversation.
It's a reference to a conversation, yeah, that we've had before.
That we were a part of.
Yeah. Well, there you go, person who you know who you are. That is my thoughts.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's on video now, so that's good. Let me see. I'll pick up my last one here then.
Alright, we have the same last one, so...
Right. So yeah.
We'll end on a high here. And it's... The last one that we're talking about is behind us.
There you go. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. I'll do this, actually.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to have to do it, man. I'm sorry. There is a film that, for one of our film modules this year, we've had to watch. It is a Spanish short film called La Cabina.
Oh, wow.
Which means...
This.
The phone booth. Which you have not seen.
I've not seen it, but I've heard a great many things. And how amazing must this film be? Because I swear, for the last, month, any time I've met up with, my film friends, they've been talking about this movie.
It's La Cabina, you know what I mean? Let's talk about it. I don't want to spoil it, although by putting it in this video, I am kind of, implying that there is some kind of...
I guess I'll have to watch it now, because I'm going to have to put in, images over what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a Spanish short film from 1972, and it's about a man who gets stuck in a phone booth, basically. And it, escalates from there in various ways. It's very... it's not very slow, but it's quite drawn out. And then it builds to, some kind of reveal that is, I don't know, as it's building to it, I was kind of thinking, fucking hell, this movie's taking its time. But then it gets to the reveal, and you're kind of damn, it was worth it. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then it's only, 30 minutes long. It's also on YouTube, by the way. So if you want to go watch it, La Cabina, I can't recommend enough. But, I don't know, there's something, you haven't ever seen The Twilight Zone, but it has a Twilight Zone-esque energy to it. And it switches genres in a really interesting way where, I don't know, a lot of it is quite comedic. It almost feels like a Mr. Bean type skit of, man stuck in a phone booth, isn't this sort of funny? And then sort of as it evolves in different ways, and you're kind of wondering, where is this actually going? What's the final endpoint here? I don't know, it just really effectively builds in a way that is a reason why, it's kind of become a meme with us, but, we actually unironically have watched it 3 times. Because he was watch it again, and I was I'm not going to watch this again. And then I was wait a minute, actually, boys. Let's watch it again.
This movie has changed your life in a way, I feel.
Yes. One of our friends, he's watched it, I think actually 6 times.
Yeah, because on Letterboxd it's just person has watched
La Cabina.
La
Cabina, La Cabina. And again, on YouTube, for free with English subtitles, although most of it's kind of not dialogue heavy, so it doesn't even really matter, but La Cabina, that's all I'll say about it, but definitely worth the watch. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So is that one of your scariest movie moments?
I mean, like, again, I don't want to spoil
You just
it.
want to plug this random movie,
Yeah.
like.
I've given it like a shout out on YouTube multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm just like, again, without spoiling it, the way it builds to the climax, and yes, I mean it's like goofy, like it's sort of silly, but it's like. It's actually, because I've seen it also with a bunch of different people, like, for the first time, because they showed it in class a couple times, and there were people who hadn't seen it before, and, like, you could actually hear, like, audible gasps when the ending happened. I don't know, it's like, you're gonna watch it now, I've built it up way too much, it's gonna
I
be
have
fucking
to,
silly.
yeah, it has to happen now.
I think it was only as effective as it was, because none of us knew, like, what is this movie showing us? Then we were like, oh my god, what the fuck? So if you go with too high expectations, as, like, anyone would now that I've plugged it so much, it's probably not gonna be that good.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, La Cabina.
You really said it to the people, like, oh yeah, this movie is amazing.
It's kind of fucking great. And the first time you watch it, you're gonna be like, you know. But then the second time, and the third time, and maybe the fourth time, then it's gonna be, as our friend rated it, a 5-star movie. I think it started at a 3, and now it's at a 5. That's all I'm saying. La Cabina.
Yeah, we have to watch that multiple times.
Yeah, it's a thinker, you know.
Oh, okay, all right. I cannot believe that this is 5 minutes of my life I'm never getting back.
Yeah, just me ranting about La Cabina. Yeah. The world needs to know that. I'm sorry, I need to get the word out.
Well, there you go. The word is out to the 26 people who are subscribed to this channel.
Let's go. Fuck yeah.
Keep going strong, guys. We're good. Okay. Now that that's over, we get on to our last film because we one of our picks, we had the same film on our list. We watched this last night. Benedict watched it for the first time, and it's my, like, however many times viewing it because it's one of my favorite films. I know it's probably kind of a common kind of a take to have, but Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is genuinely, I think, one of the scariest films ever made, and largely because it was made by the master of suspense himself, Alfred Hitchcock. So, as someone who has just seen the film, well, you can start first on talking about how you felt about the film and some of your scariest, creepiest moments.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved it. I was, I mentioned to you, I watched Vertigo over the summer, and I wasn't crazy about it, so I kind of thought, like, maybe, I don't know. I've seen other Alfred Hitchcock movies before, but I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm not going to love, you know, some of his other kind of iconic works. But, I mean, yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, just the building of suspense, and even though they're not the scariest scenes, the two scenes, like, two of the big dialogue scenes, the first one between Norman Bates and Marianne, is it?
Marion, yeah.
Marion. And then when the private investigator talks to Norman Bates, just like, I don't know, really well written, and just like the building of sort of tension. You can see the subtext kind of playing out between them in those conversations. And yeah, and then the actual, you know, horror stuff. Again, without like anything too fancy, you know what I mean? With sort of, that's why he's, you know, like the master, like with the, yeah, he's able to do so much with like quite simple techniques, you know what I mean? And yeah, like you said yesterday, it makes it look so effortless, which is like, I don't know, incredible movie, really, really fucking great. The moment that actually got me the most, and it's funny because I actually knew it was coming because we had been shown a clip of it in film class before, but it's the second kill in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's walking up the stairs, and then it's like the from above angle, and then Norman Bates comes out like from the side, and like, because I remember when we watched it in film class, and again, you're in film class, you know what I mean? You're like, not in a very scary, but like you're with a bunch of people, you're specifically watching it.
Well, I guess
like,
depending on how you feel about your local film class, you could be
yeah,
very scared.
Could be a terrifying environment actually, but I don't know. It's because I guess it's kind of a jump scare, but it's not really. And like the way that
I think it's just the
yeah, and the way it's built up to, and like the from above angle, and the way he like he's walking slowly up the stairs, and then he rushes out from the other side. Like it's just like, I don't know, man. That moment's perfect.
Yeah, that scares me a lot as well. I feel like the shower scene is like it is scary, I think, but it's probably less so because everyone has seen it and everyone knows it. So I feel like the shower scene is probably it probably is as scary, if not scarier than that moment. But I think the fact, like, by virtue of the fact that everyone has seen the shower scene, it makes it less scary for most people.
I will say, even with that, even, you know, having seen it a million times, with the build-up of the first part of the film, and then the moment when you see him open the door from like behind the shower curtain, that still kind of got me.
Oh yeah, no, the tension like even when I was watching that the first time, and I just like see Norman coming towards the curtain, and I'm like, oh god,
Yeah.
like just do it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like my favorite scene in the film is when Norman and Marion are talking, and in the parlor, and I could rant on and go full film student and tell you about how amazing that scene is, and you know all the thematic levels that it works on. But you're on YouTube, you don't care about that. So I'll just say that like the tension in that scene, even though you know that nothing is going to happen, but especially I think when Norman switches up and when he stops being nice because in his view Marion has crossed a line, the tension in that scene is never like it never ceases to be tense because he's just Anthony Perkins is so intense in that moment, and just some of the lines in that film or in that scene even uh, they're not scary but they're just creepy, like it makes you shift a little in your seat, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you said when that scene came on, you were like, "This is a great scene," and
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's I don't know the tension there, and like you said, like the way it's filmed and all that stuff. There's tons to talk about there, but yeah, and I think not that this is like a particularly hot take, but fucking amazing performance, Anthony Perkins. Is that his Anthony
Yeah,
Perkins?
Anthony
Yeah,
Perkins, yeah.
as Norman Bates, like one of the best performances I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah, he's genuinely incredible.
Yeah, no, great movie. 5 stars.
Easily 5 stars.
5 stars.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my absolute favorite films. It's one of my kind of, I'd say, top 5, top 10 favorite horror films. And yeah, Hitchcock really is just a master of filmmaking. He's just able to effortlessly create suspense. And even when you hear him talking about it, like the famous video, which I would recommend you seek out because it is literally just like suspense 101, and he's talking about the bomb under the table,
Yeah, yeah,
and really briefly, and you should just go watch the video because Alfred Hitchcock has a very nice English accent
yeah.
as he's telling the story. But if you have a bunch of guys talking around a table and a bomb goes off, it's shocking for 2 seconds, whereas if you show the bomb at the start of the scene, then it adds tension and suspense to the scene because the whole scene you're waiting for the bomb to go off. And again, like, I feel like if it wasn't Hitchcock explaining that, I'd be like, oh, whatever, like, that's done all the time. It's cheap and, like, give me more than just that. But I think, again, Hitchcock, the way he makes his films and the way he talks about them is so effortless, but it works so well.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I agree, he does have a great accent. There was a little featurette after the
Yeah,
movie, and
very, yeah.
he's pleasant to
He's so,
listen to.
yeah, he really is, yeah. When he's talking about filmmaking, anyway.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, good clarification.
Yeah, it was the 50s and 60s, so, yeah.
Yeah, I keep that in mind. But yeah, man. Great film.
Amazing movie. Those are me and BHL's scariest movie moments. So put down in the comments below what are your scariest movie moments. Doesn't have to be from a horror film, it could be from anything. And thank you for joining me in the Kino Cave.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Had to happen.
Had to happen, yeah. And I hope you all enjoy the video. And subscribe to see less of him but more of me.
Let me just one more.
Yeah, get it out.
All right.
We're good?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.